Hello, and welcome to this second lecture of this course on solved cases and answered questions from Kotler's Marketing Management. And in this, uh, we are going to talk. This is the lecture on the chapter 2 of Kotler's Marketing Management, Marketing Planning and Management. So, in this section, basically, we will answer questions that will be asked and on provide solutions to the cases. In the part 1, on the chapter 2 of the Kotler's Marketing Management, 14th and 16th edition. And at the end of this lecture, you would have recapped the concepts taught in chapter 2, Marketing Planning and Management. And at the end of the lecture, through the assignments, we will help you learn the answer to any questions that are raised in this chapter and give the solution to the cases so that you can do it yourself and benchmark and learn from the process of doing the cases, the practical application. Marketing planning and management happens at three different stages. A large corporation consists of several business units, and each business unit has multiple products or offering or brands. So it happens at the level of corporate, which is called a corporate planning. Then happens at the level of business unit, which could be independent company or it could be business unit, strategic business units within a company. And then it happens within a strategic business unit, it happens at the product or brand or offering level. Let's look at each of these. So the corporate planning basically consists of four activities: defining the corporate mission, uh, building the corporate culture, establishing strategic business units, and allocating resources to strategic business unit. Let's look at each of these, how these are done. And we'll quickly summarize. Defining the corporate mission basically starts with mission is a clear, concise, and enduring statement of the reasons for the existence of the organization. Why do we exist? That's a question that you need to answer in this. And in this, there are a couple of questions that can help you, which is proposed by Peter Drucker as classic questions. What is our business? Who is our customer? What is of value to the customer? What will be our business and what should be our business? So these are the questions that define a corporate mission. A clear, thoughtful mission statement developed collaboratively with the managers, customers, and employees provides a shared sense of response, purpose, direction, and opportunity. And a good mission statement has certain characteristics like it should focus on a limited number of specific goals, stress the company's major policies, define the major markets, take a long term view, and be short, memorable, and as meaningful as possible. Building a corporate culture is a critical part of a corporate planning and management. It talks about basically, we talk about creating a viable culture that is key to market success. So, what exactly is a corporate culture? It is defined as a set of shared experiences, stories, beliefs, and norms that characterize the organization and guide the day-to-day behavior of its employees. Walk into any company, the first thing that will strike you is corporate culture. The way people dress, the people talk to each other, they greet customers, and they talk to you. And a customer-centric culture can affect all aspects of organization. That's a very critical requirement for successful marketing. Establishing strategic business unit is another critical work in corporate planning and management. And many large companies manage a portfolio of different businesses, and you need to define each of these, establish each of these. And a strategic business unit or SBU has three characteristics. It's a single business or a collection of related business that can exist separately from the rest of the company. It has its own set of competitors and has a manager responsible for strategic planning and profit performance. Strategic businesses units make up a company's portfolio based on the diversity of individual strategic business units within the company, which could be defined as the business could be defined as specialized or diversified. A specialized portfolio involves SBUs with very narrow assortment of the offerings or product lines. And in contrast, the diversified product portfolio includes SBUs with a fairly broad assortment. Each business unit needs to define its specific mission with a broader company mission. And the purpose of identifying the strategic business units to develop separate strategy and assign appropriate funding. Senior manager notes his portfolio of businesses usually includes a number of yesterday's has been, past successes, and what the future promises to be. The last important thing that a corporate planning and management does is allocating resources to strategic business units. So once we have the SBUs defined, management must decide how to allocate resources to the each unit and what amount of resources should be allocated. This is basically done by assessing the each role of the each strategic business unit within that corporation, and based on its competitive advantages and the attractiveness of the market that they are in. And each of these are assessed separately in terms of competitive advantages or something that it has over its competitive in that marketplace. And attractiveness of the market is defined in terms of the size, the growth potential, and the profit potential. And based on this assessment, the corporation decides which are the past successes and hence should be milked, which are the future stars that need to be invested, what are the current problem childs that needs to be addressed, and what are the things that need to be diversified. And that's a BCG model. Similarly, there is but there are a variety of models that can be used for allocating resources. Another one is but BCG is the most simplest one, is most useful one, but there are more advanced models as you see here. The developing market offering requires basically creating value for the target customers, collaborators, and company stakeholders. It's necessary for a company to clearly identify two things in terms of first starting with the developing market offering is to identify a clear target market in which it will compete, and it will design offerings that will deliver meaningful set of benefits to its target customer, which is also called a value proposition. Uh, so, and these activities compass two components of company's business model: strategy and tactics. And what we told you in the previous uh, paragraph was more about the strategy. Strategy involves choosing a well-defined market where which the company will compete and determining a value it will provide. And tactics involve actually designing, also called marketing, calls designing, converting the strategy into life, and it defines the key aspects of the offering in terms of the products, in terms of the communication, in terms of pricing. And so it defines the 4 P's or 7 T's as we talked about. A specific company, a company's strategy specifies the target and value it aims to achieve in the market, while the tactics detail the specific attributes of the offering that will create that value. So they nicely fit in with each other. And as we were mentioning it, the offerings tactic involve the features, the brand image, the pricing, the promotions, the communication and distribution of the offering. And it is not possible without the understanding the need of the target markets and competitive options that you can fulfill the needs of the customers by developing those offerings. How do you go about developing the marketing strategy? Basically, it involves two components. One is the target market that the company will complete, and second is the value proposition. A carefully chosen target market and well-crafted proposition is the foundation of the company's business model and serve as the guiding principle for determining the tactical decision that define company offering. A target market in which company aims to create comprises of five factors: customers, competitors, also called the 5 C's: customers, competitors, collaborators, company, and the context in which the company operates. And we will talk about detail in the next slide. So, as visually represented, this is what constitutes the target market. The customers are the target customers that the company and collaborators and will target to serve by creating that value proposition and delivering through the the tactics. The company typically involves a particular business unit that manages the specific offering. Competitors are many that compete and provide the same benefit, higher or lower level, to the target customers, and you will be competing with them in the marketplace to get your share of business. A set of collaborators are the people who work with you in providing the value. It could involve your advertising agencies. Mostly these are outsourced since it's a collaboration. And the context is the broad operating environment in which the company operates. And this it is in the form of demographic environment, social and demographic environment, the socio-cultural context. Then uh, there is a regulatory context in which you operate. There is a technological context in which you operate, and then there is economic context in which you operate, and there's a physical context, and finally is a legal and political context in which you operate. This is also what is called environment, and there are many words. That one is one of the major acronyms known for using this context is the PESTLE. How do you go about identifying the target market? The key component of target market is the selection of the target customer. So the three elements of target market, the customers, company, and the collaborators. And the key element is figuring out who is the right target market for you to serve. It's based on what value proposition can you develop. And it includes target market definition includes defining the competition, collaborator, and the key customers, and also defining the company resources that will be used to develop this offering, and outline the context in which the 5C. So, but the main component is the target customer. It follows that a change in target customer usually requires a change in competitors and collaborator happens. That if you choose a different set of target customers, you would be competing with different set of people, and you may require different collaborator. You would require maybe different resources, and your context might change as you see. And because of its strategic importance, choice of right target customer is the foundation of building a successful business. So that's extremely important. The 5 C's, you would have heard about the 5 forces framework. So a quick recap, what Kotler says about how the 5 C's and the 5 forces that the framework compare. So 5C framework is similar to the 5 forces framework. And in 5 forces framework, we have these 5 forces which Porter defined: the suppliers, buyers, and their bargaining power, the new entrants, the current competitors, and the substitute. And these create the forces in the industry to determine how attractive is that industry. Uh, so these factors define the competitive environment in which the firm operates. The 5 forces framework suggests the competition with the industry increases with increasing in the bargaining power, increasing in the threat of the new entrants, by increasing the threats of the substitutes, and the increased rivalry among the competitors. So both the frameworks are for to facilitate analysis of the market in which the company operates. So both are good frameworks. The difference between the two framework is the way they are used. They can be used to define the market. The 5 forces framework analyzes the competition in the form of an industry perspective. So you have a whole industry that you look at. Whereas the 5C framework is more useful from a particular offering point of view. It's more specific, where we talk about the target customer in the center. You have a offering that you need to design for that. With And then you have collaborators, then you have company resources. So 5C is more specific to offering, whereas 5 forces is more specific at an industry level without any particular reference to a particular offering as such. How do you, having looked at how do you define a target market, let's look at what is a value proposition. And a value proposition basically is a optimal value. So of your offerings that you will offer will create value for the customer. That's obviously given. So because you have a target market and it must create value. It will also need to create a value for the company in terms of what the company expects out of this, whether it is profits, its share, or whatever else. And also, if you're collaborating with the people industry, it will also create some value for the collaborator. So there are three values that need to develop to be included in the overarching value proposition. So how do you go about developing the value proposition? The market value principle also refers to as three-way principle because it underscores the importance of creating value for the three entities: target customers, collaborator, and the company itself. The market value principles define the viability of business model by posing three sets of questions. What value does the offering create for the target customer? Why should target customers choose this offering? What makes this offering superior to alternative options? What value does this offering create for companies, collaborators, suppliers, distributors, co-developers? Why should collaborators partner with the company instead of with any other entity? And what value does offering create for the company? Why should the company invest resources in offering rather than pursuing other options? So this is what defines an overarching value proposition from a three V principle point of view. The need to manage all the three value proposition begs the question of which value to prioritize. The question is, who should you prioritize? And it creates such that it creates value for target customers and collaborate in a way that enables company to achieve its specific goals. But the unwritten rule is ultimately is the customer who pays, who creates a value. So you need to create first the value for them in such a way that it creates value for the collaborators and for the company. The optimal value as used here basically means the value of offering is connected across all the three entities, and it creates value for target customer collaborators in a way that creates value for the company or to achieve its strategic goals. Market value principle optimizes as customer, collaborator, and company values the base of market success. Failure to create superior value for any of the three market entities, customers, collaborators, and company, inevitably leads to unsustainable business model and dooms the business venture. So that is the importance of three-way principle. What are marketing tactics? So marketing tactics, market offerings or marketing tactics are the seven things that you see here, which are part of the in the lower box: the product, service, brand, price, incentives, communication, and distribution that basically support or create that overarching value proposition as a part of the strategy. So it's the actual good that company deploys to fulfill the particular customer need. Uh, the unlike the target market and value proposition, which reflect company's strategy, marketing of offering market the offerings market offerings reflect the company's tactic, the specific way the company will create value for the market where it competes. And we talked about the seven tactics that we need to fill, and it is these are also called the marketing mix in the earlier model, the editions of Kotler. How do you go about designing the marketing tactics? The seven marketing tactics that you see can be regarded as the process of designing, communicating, and delivering customer value. This is all about delivering communicating, designing, delivering values. That is the outlying boundary of these marketing tactics. The value design aspect of the offering comprises products, service, brand, uh, uh, price, and the incentive. They combinedly determine the value. You could have a great product, service, and a brand, and if you disproportionately price or you do not offer an incentive, it might have not that much of a value. And the communication piece determines how you communicate the value, and that brings the value through communication. And the actual delivery or distribution leads to the delivering the uh, uh, val- delivering value of the marketing tactics. There is a We need to connect the 7 Ts and the 4 Ps in the earlier versions. In the very early versions, the marketing very fondly remembered are the 4 Ps: the product, price, promotion, and the place as the 4 P framework that is very well remembered. So that is the historical 4 Ps that we have. Now, one of the limitation of the 4 Ps in distinguishing between the product, service, and the brand. The product inherently includes the service and the brand, but it kind of obscure these two parts of that, and that becomes a key drawback in a service-oriented industry, and as the brand is becoming more and more important. Another important limitation is that the the promotion includes communication as well as giving incentive to the target customers for creating value as well as delivering the communication value, and that is again a kind of a blur that happens here. and the place is fine, but it again the 70 model splits this further into more finer dimensions of brand, product, service as a part of the product, the promotions as a part of the communication as well as incentive. The price remains as it is, and then place and delivery remains as it is. So, how do you create a market value map? He talks about creating a market value map, which basically, as you see on the left hand side, is consists of defining the target market, the value proposition, and the market offerings. And you answer all those questions that define, that reflect the target market, that reflect the value propositions, the three values, and the specific things, dimensions of the market offerings. And the two, as we said, the market value map basically consists of two elements, strategy and tactics. And the basic purpose of the value map is to facilitate development of a visible business model that can enable company to achieve the market success. So it's a visual representative, as you see, of the strategy and the tactics defined in terms of three broad elements: target market, value proposition, and market offering. These three value maps that you see on your left depict different distinct aspects of company business model, and these value maps capture the way the company's offering will create value for its target customers and outline the strategic and tactical aspects of the customer focused business model. The collaborator value map delineates strategic and tactical aspects of the ways. Finally, company value map outlines the ways in which the offering will create. The three value maps can be developed and they intricately link to each other, and only by creating value map for each of the entities can a manager ensure market success for offering, because you need to create value for each of these stakeholders in the target market. How do you plan? Kotler then talks about planning and managing marketing offering, and this basically he talks of as we will go along and see, a G-stick model. Basically, it involves the future depends on the ability to develop successful offering that creates superior value for target customers, company, and collaborators, as we saw. Typically results from diligent market analysis, planning, and management. Rarely it's a lucky accident. Succeeding in a market requires company to develop a viable business model and an actual plan that will allow business model to become a reality, because otherwise it's just a wishful thinking. And he uses a process in this particular edition of 16th edition. He introduced the G-stick framework that we will talk about in the next one. The G-stick approach to action planning starts with a goal that defines that focuses and benchmarks what you want to achieve as a result of your marketing planning. It includes G-stick. G stands for goals, S for strategy, T for tactics, I for implementation, and C for control. And in which what you see is the core of action planning is based on companies offering a strategy and tactics. The individual component of G-stick into marketing planning are goal that describes the company's ultimate criteria for success. Then there are strategy that is based on company's business model in terms of how it will deliver value to its target customers in achieving those goals. The tactics are the specific. They bring the strategy to life using the 7 tactics of product, service, brand, promotion, incentive, communication, and distribution. Implementation consists of processes that will make this offering ready for sale and includes developing offering and deploying the offerings in target markets. Control includes how do you monitor post the deployment, the progress, the performance, and how that needs to be tweaked as you go along. Let's look at each of these in a little more detail. The goals, setting the goals, basically there could be two key decisions involved in setting the goals: identifying the focus of the company's action and specifying company performance benchmarks. The goals are the desired outcomes. There could be monetary goals like net profit, ROI, earnings per share, or they could be specific, and they are normally a combination of both. Strategic goals like sales volume, market share, brand awareness, etc. And for each of these goals, then you set performance benchmarks. These are the measurement. There are specific thing that you want to achieve. If you set ROI as a goal focus, then you would set a benchmark based on last year's and desired goal for next couple of years. What is it that you want to achieve? And it setting the goals requires defining what to achieve, how much to achieve, and by when to achieve. Three dimensions of setting a goal. By now, you would have got a sense of how to develop a strategy. Basically, it includes how you create value, includes defining the target market that consists of the five C's, and defining a value proposition. The value proposition includes the benefits and cost of market offering that company plans to deliver to its target customer, collaborator, and company value, and is complemented by a positioning statement. The tactics, as we saw earlier, makes a marketing strategy a reality. Consists of seven tactics: product, service, brands, price, incentive, communication, and distribution. And all these seven tactics work together to create a market value envisaged in the value proposition. So this is where the rubber hits the road. Implementation starts the implementation by implementation planning that spells out the activities that will give life to the business model, and includes three components: resource development, offering development, and then commercial deployment. Resource development could include identify all the resources that are required: men, money, materials, and method in the manufacturing and service technology, employees, suppliers, product, brand, platforms, offering development skills, communication channels, and capital that you need for making these offering a reality. Then you do go through an actual process of development of the offering that starts with product design, service specifications, brand building, setting wholesale prices, retail prices, and incentive, designing communication messages, preparing media and creative designs, preparing distribution channel, and procuring the channels that you need for making delivering these offerings. And then you get into commercial deployment. You start with the market launch schedules, scale up, and the resources required. Then you select the initial deployment, also called a test market, where you assess the market reaction, and based on the reaction from the test market or selective deployment, you see whether you want to go back and change or tweak your strategies, or you want to go ahead with this full scale up. Identifying control is the next step of the G-stick process. It basically consists of aligning actions with in the current market realities with your goals that you want to achieve, and it basically makes your marketing operations more efficient and effective, and which try to make possible assessing the ROI on your marketing investment by tracking the results and correcting the actions. It determines whether we need to stay on course or modify the existing operation strategy and tactic, or abandon and take a completely new course of action. Two key components: performance evaluation and environment monitoring. In performance monitoring, you basically compare actuals with the desired results. You use benchmarks and the measures that are required. There are metrics are like you use various matrices like sales metrics, customer readiness like buying matrices like awareness, preferences, purchase intent, etc. Customer value matrices like satisfaction, acquisition costs, churn, etc. Distribution metrics like number of outlets, communication metrics like GRP, response rate, awareness. If the progress is adequate, you stay on course. If inadequate, you make the evaluate action plan, modify to go back on a course to meet the goals. Environment monitoring allows early detection of context changes, because the context should not necessarily will stay the same as you started the planning, especially in technology environments. It enables taking advantage of new opportunities, also alerts about impending threats from the environment, helps taking corrective actions to modify the action plan timely, to take advantage of some opportunity and mitigate the impact of threats. Can make a value creation model sustainable, very, very important. So environment monitoring is key piece of making your value creation model sustainable by aligning the model with the market condition. Uh, Lastly, he talks about last couple of things. He talks about developing a marketing plan, and he says marketing plan is the key thing that direct and coordinate all the marketing elements, activities. It's a tangible output of the strategic planning process. It outlines the goals and means to achieve the goal basically. must communicate to all the relevant stakeholders so that the whole team is aligned and they work on the same direction. It contains specifically an executive summary, a situation overview, a G stick in terms of goals, strategies, tactical implementation control, and then it has exhibits. It can include more specialized plans like product development plan, service management plan, brand management plans, sales plan, promotional plans, and communication plan. And also you can create specialized marketing plan for specific target customers or even a particular account. If you have a Walmart as a big client worldwide, you could create a marketing plan for, and it looks like something like what you see on the right hand side. You need to modify the marketing plans as you go to remain relevant. It requires updating when the current course of action is to be altered to for change in the goals. And if the goals have changed, you need to revise it. Rethink existing strategy because either the new target market has been identified or the overall value proposition needs modification. Change in tactics by augmenting any of the 70s, streamlining implementation, and developing alternative control. So any of the elements that requires change either because of context or competitors or collaborators or customers or a company needs to be included there. And it basically this modification is required to keep up with the changes in the market. One of the important things to talk about is doing a marketing audit. And he says marketing audit is a comprehensive examination of the marketing aspects of an offering or a marketing department as such. More it is done as a marketing department than a brand, unless it is a big brand itself. It's intended to identify overlooked opportunity and problem areas, and it recommends a plan of action to improve the performance. It should be comprehensive, systematic, unbiased, and periodic. Comprehensive, it should cover all major marketing activities, not just a few trouble spots. It can help locate real root of the problem and can get suggest solutions effectively to address these problems because of being comprehensive. The marketing audit should be systematic, should examine operating environment in orderly fashion from goals, strategies to and follow the goals, strategies to tactics to implementation and control, and it can follow those guidelines to see the soundness of your marketing plan. Helps to identify problems and opportunities at each step of the G stick process. It should be unbiased. It should be done by an external entity who will be able to identify the missing opportunities and threats and problems. External auditors bring also objectivity, cross-category experiences, and undivided attention and time. It needs to be periodic because it will benefit in good health as well as when in trouble, rather than doing as in when needed or specifically when you are in trouble. So, having looked at all that Kotler talked about in the second chapter, what do we do next? So, in the next, what is next for you is to look at the two cases that he has given in the end of the chapter two, one on Google and second on Zappos, and do those cases for yourself as a part of the assignments, and then compare your notes with what we have proposed as solution, and learn from there and be ready to answer your exams better or the interviews better as you go forward in life. So thank you so much for watching this second lecture in which we covered chapter 2 of Kotler's Marketing Manager by recapping and by doing the assignments as you will be able to look at solve the cases as we have. So I look forward to see you again in the next lecture. Thank you so much again.